Start. So yeah, so introduction to artificial intelligence. What is AI and what can you do with it? So this is the outlook for today. This is the agenda. I think I estimate 1 hour for the whole session, depending on how long we do the discussions later on. So we'll start with a quick intro. Everybody will kind of quickly introduce himself or herself on the call. I'll quickly go into what is artificial intelligence technology. Then I'll spend some time detailing some applications and then doing 2 to 3 demos with you to show you really how things, how easy and how complex it can get with AI tech. And then finally, we'll kind of open the door to discussion with how can you benefit from artificial intelligence technology in your job, as a business owner, as a practitioner, as a technologist, as a businessman, and then we'll start the discussion around those topics for the rest of the hour. So I'll start by introducing myself, and then we can go around the room to kind of do quick introductions. I lead the data to decision practice at Mindset, which is a strategy and decision advisory unit firm. We basically do management consulting in terms of strategies and analytics for companies. I'm currently trying to build a community by sharing tech and AI insights through Rogue AI. And this is kind of one of the first sessions that you are attending today. And you can reach me on Twitter if for any questions that you have, or through my website on Ali-Taraf. And then you can leave your email address there if you want a copy of this presentation for further reference. So yeah, that's about me. How about we do a quick around the room intros with everyone. I'll start with Luke, since you're just kind of right next to me on the on the screen there.
All right, yeah. I'm Luke from Oregon.
Did you say anything else besides Luke from Oregon? It seems like you
Uh,
disconnected.
nope, I'm Luke from Oregon, and I've done some AI stuff. I mean,
Would you describe
um,
yourself as more of a technology oriented um, man, or you're more on the management side of things, business side of things? How do you describe yourself?
oh, I know more about the programming stuff.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I work in. I like to try some AI stuff just for fun. The Pi image search blog and stuff.
Beautiful.
I watch that. Yeah.
Excellent. So we have somebody, an expert in AI tech. Tom, your turn. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, Tom Ciesnak is my name. And I was intrigued because it says Rogue AI, something local here. I'm currently in real estate. I've owned a business for 25 years, and well, I'm a musician. I play a number of instruments, but I have a geeky side. I have a networking degree I've never used. And I think the AI intrigues me because of game theory, decision making, which you got right on your site there. And like in real estate, you just have certain pressures that come and build, and there's tipping points that come, and I'm guessing AI is very similar in that. So even if you're just dealing with people, I think recognizing social pressures, COVID's one of them. It's like there's popping points for all kinds of things, health and benefit and social freedoms. And so it just intrigues me. I want to learn about it, and I think it pays off in learning how to love people and make decisions in business.
Uh, I think we have a lot of similar interests, Tom, you and I, and then I would love to take on some of those discussions at the end of the talk. This will be exciting. Thank you.
Sure, or connect with me, off later on tomorrow or another day.
Sure, I will do
You got
that.
our, you got my email, don't you?
I don't, but maybe you can leave it on the website thingy, and then I can get in touch with you later on like that.
All right.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Anna, would you like to introduce yourself? You're muted, Anna.
Sorry, good evening. I'm Anna. I'm a student. I'm a second year student. I'm studying public policy. And my interest in AI is I just got the offer from my professor that he's doing some research how the policy could, how the people and AI could work together. And he's doing some research and he told me if I will be interested in this topic. And now my goal for joining this presentation, this workshop, is to just build some knowledge in AI. I know nothing. So
That's
thank you for
that's beautiful.
having this workshop.
You came to the right place.
Mhm.
The way I advertise this is, I mean, if you're a student and you don't know anything about AI, or if you're a tech guy who knows something about AI, or if you're a CEO looking to use AI in your business, you'll learn something from this talk. So thank you for coming. And the public policy and AI tech is a super interesting field. There's a lot of um, things going on there, especially around the ethics of AI tech, and then the human interaction between technology and humans, and how do you navigate that on a social scale. It gets super complex as soon as you introduce humans in the equation. So thank you for coming, and then looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah, thanks.
Deepak, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Deepak Kumar. I'm from Michigan. Currently I'm working in the medical device company. I'm similar to Anna. I'm also like a newbie to this topic. So, like medical device companies also use a lot of artificial intelligence. So that's what intrigued me into this course. So yeah, and yeah, thank you very much, Ali, for like giving us this opportunity to understand what AI is. And even though we are newbies to this, so yeah, just an introductory course will really help me in the future.
Beautiful. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on also in the medical field and even in the medical device field. I mean, whether from the research side or the manufacturing side, I think you'll find a lot of interesting things going on. Thank you for joining, Deepak, and I look forward for the discussion.
Yeah.
Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Sarah Matar. I'm a medical oncologist, a physician here in the Rogue Valley. I'm like Anna and Deepak. I don't know much about AI, but I want to learn because I feel like AI has already had a huge impact on the healthcare field, and I want to try to incorporate it in oncology. And as a disclosure, I'm Ali's wife, so just throwing that in there.
Well, thank you for coming, Sarah. I appreciate it. Thanks for the support. And I think your experience in the medical field uh, can be enriched and augmented by AI tech, especially now with the COVID stuff. There's tons of application around that. So thanks for joining. All right, so now that we know a bit each other, I'll get started, and then we can take it from there. So I like to think about intelligence technology as a gradual process that started 50 years ago. If you think about digital technologies, and then since the invention of the transistors, and also some of the programming kind of languages, and then thinking and algorithms, You have the mainframe computers, those huge computers that used to fill a room back in the 60s and even up to the early 90s. And then you had the client server PC configuration, which is what most of us are familiar with in terms of you have a desktop and then you have a server somewhere and you connect to the web and the internet with it. And then now this paradigm of computing is a bit shifting towards mobile computing and then more kind of newer technologies using the web. You had the Web 1.0 with e-commerce, you had the Web 2.0 with mobile, and then you had with the affluence of data and then big data, people started digging deeper into what's going on with data sets and then with all of the data that you leave on the internet or in companies and businesses. And then the field of analytics and big data exploded. Coming on top of that is on the manufacturing side of things, on the hardware side of things, is machines and devices that are kind of interconnected, and then they have many different applications like self-driving cars and so on. Now AI is coming into this mix, and it started a long while ago. However, it's coming into this field with a rich ecosystem of algorithms, of data points, of data, and then of hardware. And this is where the difference it's coming. Alongside the AI tech, you have also blockchain technology, which is super interesting. I have a talk that I'm preparing for next month about this. I don't know if you're familiar with blockchain tech, but it's something that is super interesting right now. And then you have something that is coming in the future along the line of quantum computing. So AI is part of this whole digital technology waves that are kind of happening all around us. Now, what is AI? What is artificial intelligence? If you want to define it, I think this is one of the best definition. It's basically a broad term used to describe computer systems. Um, and not just any computer system. Is your calculator an AI? Maybe it was back in the 50s, but is it an AI now? I think the benchmark for classifying what is AI and what is not AI keeps shifting because humans tend to get used to things and then um, they just kind of, oh, that's easy. A machine can do that, and it's been doing that. But if you want a real technical definition, I mean, anything that can sense the environments with input, think, analyze, and learn, and then act towards an objective, you can consider it as an AI system, right? This is a very broad and generic definition. And then you have the technology as the core of of what enables artificial intelligence, like the platforms, the sensors. If you think about your phone and the cameras on it, that's kind of the technology right now. And then you have the methods. You have those algorithms that are coded right there to identify, let's say, your face if you're looking at your iPhone, so that it can open the screen for you without you pressing any buttons, right? Those are the algorithms that are inside. On top of that, you have um, like a family of algorithm. Let's call them machine learning. It's kind of a new type of algorithm that scientists have been working on for the past 30, 40 years, but only recently these algorithms were made uh, possible and then mature with the advances in computation and hardware kind of computing power, like supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and all of that. So these algorithms taught us and the machines, gave the machines the ability to learn, and this is super important. I'll talk about why in a moment. And then finally, all of this becomes what we know or what we define as artificial intelligence, which is basically the ability to sense, reason, and engage and learn in a real environment using machine learning and the methods and the technologies to do useful things like planning and optimization, like computer vision, your phone is opening the screen, right? And many different things. But the real change happened by scientists and then computer scientists discovering how to build programs with instructions, not with instructions, but with examples. And I'll show you a demo in a couple of slides about how does that work. So this is the key takeaway that I want you to kind of take away from this talk is why now AI is booming. It's because we taught machines how to learn by themselves in a specific environment. So this is what is driving the AI revolution that we're seeing right now. And then, so why is that significant? If you think about it on a macro scale, I mean, we're using technology since the invention of the stone and then the agricultural tools and then later on to the industrial revolution, then to the digital revolutions. Technology have helped us grow our society and then prosper economically. And then this is also where AI is coming to help in basically growing and increasing our true factor productivity if you look at things from a macro scale, right? So if you think about applications in that sense, okay, so Ali, you're saying that AI is something really cool, and then we know how to make machine teach, we know how to make machine learn by themselves, and that is so cool, and it's gonna impact society in many different ways. So what are those ways? So I'll try to simplify it here. What are the capabilities that AI can give you? Basically, these are 9 categories that I'll share a couple of examples around, and then I'll show you some demonstrations that we can base our discussion on. So AI can find and sort the most relevant information. Think about you're doing a Google search, right? AI can understand the past and the present. Think about your Apple Watch notifying you that, hey, you might have a heart attack because your heart is super fast. I'm not sure if that is possible right now, but that is something along those lines. AI can perform simple tasks. Think about you're asking, hey, Google, play that song for me. Oops. No, this Google opened up on my phone, so. All right, I'll shut down that. That was unintended. All right. Think about AI seeing. So when you open, I'm giving simple examples that are relatable to everyone here. You open up your phone and then you look at it and then it recognizes you and it opens up and it unlocks itself, right? So this is a simple example of AI seeing. Think about AI hearing and talks, the Google Voice example. AI creating. Um, I'll show you super interesting examples in terms of AI producing text and writing articles, and then we'll show a demo about that. AI optimizing complex production processes. Think about um, an airplane flying or a manufacturing process that needs to be super precise in the medical field, for example. And then how do you tune the machines to produce things at the highest quality, at the highest production rate? AI predicting the future. I can't think of anything right now about that. AI controlling machines and robots and vehicles. I mean, Tesla and self-driving cars, right? So I gave you quick examples around these, and I have more of these examples here. I will not go over them. Hopefully, if you leave your email on that website, you'll get a copy of this, and you can check this information really quickly. So AI with Google search to help find programs and then related to your search. Apple Watch heart monitoring to understand kind of AI helping understanding the past and the present. AI performing simple tasks like digital marketing campaigns or autonomously scheduling meetings for the next 2 weeks for you based on your patterns and so on. All of these applications are out there already. AI seeing, for example, you write your handwriting and you snap a picture of it and automatically converts it to just one moment. I think somebody joined in maybe. Oops, nope. Do you have messages here? Ali, we can't see your slides. Oh, wow. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I didn't know that you couldn't see my slides. Let me know if you can see my slides right now.
No, we see the
Yeah,
videos.
okay. So yeah, so now can you see my slides?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, now they're showing. Thanks.
Oh, wow. Sorry about that. I didn't know that I wasn't sharing my slides. Um, so these are kind of the big applications I was talking about in terms of what can AI do. Um, and then I'll show you one more thing, and this is kind of a key thing in terms of what I was talking about in terms of we through machine learning technology, we are teaching the machines to learn by themselves, and that is the key takeaway here today. That a machine can do something that it couldn't do before, but because now it can teach itself. I don't need to specifically program the machine, but it can kind of teach itself somehow. If I show it some examples, right? And here I was talking about the digital technology waves along the years in terms from the mainframe computers to quantum computing, right? So getting back to where we were in terms of some of the examples around AI applications, optimizing complex processes, predicting the future. So if you're a company with a big supply chain and you know how much your customers are buying, you can look at those trends and try to build models to say, oh, I think this is how much I will need in terms of supplies to be able to produce what I need to produce. And then trying to factor all of those uncertainties. And Uber does that really great in terms of predicting rider demand and then adjusting its pricing to be able to deliver competitive rates. AI can control machines and robots. I mean, Tesla is a self-driving car. I mean, their work around those lines is a beautiful example of that. But you have many different applications in terms of robotics where AI is helping out. So I gave you a really dry sense of AI tech and their applications, but how about let's do a demo, a live demo together right now, and then we'll be basically training a machine learning model to do an identification class. I'm gonna show you how it works. It's easier to explain, and we can play with it together, and then we see how it goes from there. So, can you see my screen here? I'm on a website called Teachable Machine with Google.com, and what
Yes.
excellent. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open my webcam right now, and then hold on. So let me turn off my webcam here, but you guys can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So I turned off my webcam on Google Meet. You can see me there, but you can see my screen, and you can see me right now on this thing, teachable machine. So I'm gonna teach the machine to differentiate between two different signs that I'm doing. So let's say I'm doing a thumbs up. Okay, so I'm gonna record a couple of images with a thumbs up. I'm gonna press hold record. It already recorded 15 images. Okay, 15 samples. Then I'm gonna say, okay, I'm done with this. This is enough to train my model. And then what I want to do is record another class that I want to identify, and that will be, okay, let's call this thumbs up. I like you. Okay. And then let's do another class, which is thumbs down. I don't like you. Okay. And then for this one, what I'm going to do is basically say, I'm gonna do thumbs down. Okay, and I'm going to record a couple of images of me doing a thumbs down. So now I have two different classes of images, right? And I did not write any piece of code. I just provided an example of a thumbs up, an example of a thumbs down, and then I'm going to click to train the model here. And what's happening behind the scenes, the algorithm is looking at the images, and then based on these images, it builds it captures the knowledge of how to differentiate between a thumbs up and a thumbs down. So let's try if it worked. Okay, so here I am. You see my screen here, right? And then if I do a thumbs up, it's capturing the thumbs up. Do you see the class here? Thumbs up, I like you. It's like a 95%. It's identifying this as a thumbs up. Now, if I do a thumbs down, it's capturing it 88% probability that this is a thumbs down. So you see from a simple, if I do anything, I mean, it just kind of goes crazy because it doesn't know what that is. So it's not a good signal, right? I mean, this was obviously, it's a very simple example of how you can really teach a machine how to identify between two different classes. Really, you can do that yourself, right? And you can do even anything that you want with it. You can do uh, any other silly faces or things like that. It's up to you guys. So how cool is that? You have the technology right now to take a video of yourself doing something, or a video of a process in your factory or in your office, and then be able to segregate and classify what is happening around that. So that is something really cool, a really cool capability. Um, any questions around that? Is there anything you want me to try with this demo that you think might be cool?
But who created that demo?
That was Google. This is Google.
It was a Google's. Okay.
Google, they have a really nice website called Teachable Machine, and they're creating like very, very approachable demos. You can do the same with voice. So you can say, I like you, I don't like you, and then you can teach the machine to classify what you're saying and differentiate between that. Yeah,
Thank you.
that was one. Let's do another one a bit more complicated. So this was the demo for this. I'm gonna cancel that. Another one is can you AI can identify and track your posture. It's still around the vision, the computer vision, but a bit more complicated in terms of what it can do. You're still seeing my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So what you're looking at here is they are identifying different parts of my face. So this is my webcam right now. And then you notice like the lines on my face here. I have one on my nose, one on my eye, one around my ear. So it's locating perfectly my face and the features of my face, right? And then you notice also the lines here around my body, my torso, my arms, my biceps. And then they basically track me. Whatever I do, I'm kind of tracked, and it identifies my posture. Okay, this is also AI technology that has many, many different applications in healthcare, for example, around elderly to detect falls. Imagine your grandma living alone somewhere in the house, and then how do you know if she fell and she needs help? Well, if I know her posture and I can detect somebody who is in a fallen posture, I can immediately kind of trigger an alert to do something about it. And this is just one of the applications. Imagine in security, in crowds, and in cameras, and then identifying people with an aggressive stance. Um, Imagine this in fashion. I mean, I'm just kind of coming up with this right now. Um, can you help people walk better with a more confident posture if you're analyzing how they're walking with an AI algorithm? I don't know. Maybe that's an avenue that we can explore. So this is also a Google project that is out there, and then it has many different applications. Is there anything you would like me to try with this before I close it off and then show you the final demo and then we can move on? I can do silly stuff if you guys want also. So. All right. Um, so I think this makes this kind of capability clear. Another capability that I want to talk about is around language. So OpenAI built a language model. What does it mean? What does it mean? Think about Google Translate, where you tell it something and then it gives you an answer based on the text that it receives, right? But this model is a bit more complicated, and I'll show you a couple of examples around that. So so OpenAI built a language model. They call it GPT-3, and then it's super amazing because it can generate text, it can chat with you, and then I'll show you a couple of examples. And then it opened up a lot of different capabilities to the point that you can read text generated by AI and then not really know that it was built by a machine. And that is something really cool with dangerous application for policy and then for society's um, kind of welfare, but with also very promising applications in many different domains. And then just for reference, I mean, the size of these models is huge. You have a lot, billions of variables, and they cost a lot of money to train. So this one, for example, cost about $12 million to train. And then when I say training, you see when I was clicking on my on the previous demo that I was showing, I just clicked on train, and then with 10 images, it just basically built a model and trained it, right? With this, I mean, this is training from scratch on a huge data set. They basically trained this whole model on the entire, not the entirety of the internet, a huge portion of open data on the internet. So what can it do? Let me just kind of show you a couple of examples before I kind of do a demo of it of GPT-3 live. So it can write text. For example, this is William Shakespeare, and then it can write like William Shakespeare. And I won't be reading this, but I'm just kind of letting you. So people are using it to write articles. So you start, you want to write about something, and then you have a couple of ideas, you put them together, and then you feed them into OpenAI GPT-3, and then it comes up with a really coherent text. And then a really cool application is you can tell it, I want to build a website that looks like this and this and this, and then it will generate the code for that website. This was a really cool application by this guy. And then you can tell it things and it can transform it because it understands some of the languages. It can transform it to code, right? This was surprising, I mean, and really cool. You can write business memos, sure. You can do chatbots, interviews. These are cooking recipes. Some people are using it for jokes. Website, I mentioned that, and so on. Let me show you how this works. So I'm fortunate enough to have access to the beta version of OpenAI. There's a huge waiting list, so people are really wanting to do things with OpenAI. And then I'll show you a couple of demos that maybe we can do together live to basically, my aim in this whole talk is to demystify the barrier around artificial intelligence technology. It's not something that is, ooh, Skynet and it's gonna take over the world. No, it's something approachable that anyone with the right mindsets and resources can do. So I'm just showing you now with OpenAI, the latest and greatest language model in the world, how you can use it for your business or for your school or for your own personal projects. So let's do, I don't know, let's do a classification, or no, let's do summarize for a second grader. So I'm gonna open this example in in their sandbox here, and then I'm telling it I want a summary of this passage here. Okay, I'm not gonna read the whole passage, but Jupiter is the fifth planet from the sun and the largest in the solar system, and then blah blah blah. If I click on submit, it should be able to summarize this for a fifth grader. And then look at the wording that it used. Jupiter is a very big planet, point. It is a very bright like moon, point. It is so big that it is almost as big as all the other planets put together. So it's using a very subtle language that a second grader can understand. So it's super smart and it can identify nuances in what you're asking it to do. Let's look at another one. Um, text to command. So for example, ask Constance if we need some bread. Send message, find Constance, do we need some bread? So you know, like Google, okay, Google, send me a message to send a text message. So this is some of the same technology that you're seeing here, but you can use it for many, many different applications. And this is the exact same thing that the guys that uh, build a website. So I can basically, they said, okay, build a website that looks yellow and that has a really nice big picture of me. And then it will take those commands and then translate them into kind of an answer. It's not working here. Oh,
Can I ask a question?
yeah, go ahead.
Will the person on the receiving end know that this was created by AI? Let's say I'm a teacher and my student used this program to write the article that you were saying, the Shakespeare something. Will I be able to tell?
Yeah, that's a very tough question, and I think Anna, with her research on policy making, could help us with that.
To be honest, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing. Ethically, all of the big firms in their standards that they're adopting, they're required to disclose if whatever they're producing has some AI component. So if you're talking with a chatbot online, they're required to disclose that this is a chatbot and it's an artificial intelligence talking with you, and it's not just a human, right? Now, you're telling me for people writing articles online, will they disclose? I mean, it's really hard. It's kind of the gray lines of thing. How do you ensure that people will tell you the source of their material? It's like plagiarism, right? If you're copy pasting something from a book and then you don't tell, I mean, who will know unless you have some tool that is able to detect what is plagiarized or not? Aina, do you wanted to say something?
When I saw that it summarized the text, I was thinking sometimes we are writing literature reviews, and what we are doing, we are summarizing, and if it is good enough, then I can copy paste all the text, and it can summarize and paraphrase everything for me. I doubt that professor will guess it. Okay, if it is good enough, maybe I will make some changes in it, but it can simplify life for me. But I will
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with this. Yeah, that's a
Yeah, so
challenge.
my question was basically, so the quality of the product is as good as if it was human produced. Like,
Um,
sort of.
it's I mean you can still either I mean if you read carefully you might be able to identify, but it's getting better and better. So I can see a day in the coming 5 years where you won't know if this text was written by an AI or not. we don't have the time to so I can read some of the text here that GPT-3 can generate, but some of these things that it can do are pretty mind-blowing, and then you would say, oh wow, I mean, I would never have guessed that this is an AI and it's not a human, because it's basically using super good language. So I can send you more information around this in terms of the playground, in terms of the GPT-3. And then if you go on Twitter, there's tons of example around that, some of the things that they have done. So these were some of the demos that I wanted to share with you, just to give you a taste around the vision side of things and also around the textual side of things. What can AI do? There's many different other applications that I don't have time to cover in 1 hour, but I hope that you have kind of a gist of this. So now the question is, okay, so AI can do all of these great things. Will it really have a big impact? Well, yes, it's impacting all industries. Any industry that you can think of, there's some AI components and application, from retail to transport to aerospace to even real estate. Think Zillow, for example, and what they're doing. So, I mean, McKinsey predicts values kind of the impact around $3.5 trillion. And I mean, this is just a number, right? How do you make sense of this? But suffices to say that if I'm in your place, I would look around me in my job, around my colleagues, in my industry. How can I use AI tech to improve the performance of whatever we're doing in my industry and in my job? And then I'm pretty sure that you will find something. And if you don't find something that somebody has done, that is an opportunity for you to create something in technology with AI in your industry. So uh, this is all great, but then the problem is, how do you create value with AI? And then this is where things get tricky, and then I think there's a problem in the industry in terms of, you have the, on one part, the technologists, and then the coders, and then the developers that think all it takes to solve a problem is to write pieces of code and then just put it out there. And then on the other side, you have the managers and the business executive who think, oh, it's just kind of a couple of lines of code. I'll just hire someone for a couple of hours, and then he'll put it together, and then I can just run with it and capture the value of whatever I'm trying to do in my organization. Well, it doesn't work that way, because I mean, there's many different factors, and it starts with people. You have to have the right people in your organization, in your business. You have to have the right processes. You have to have the required skills to do analytics that is useful. And then you of course have to have the technology and the data to be able to power your AI app, that some of the ones that we see. And then people are echoing this, and this is what they're finding, because um, they're saying, I mean, there's a lot of solutions offering, but very little successful execution in the market. And that is right, because it's really hard to implement and scale an AI project across an organization. It's one thing to build a prototype on my laptop here and I can play with it. It's a different thing to have a 1,000 people organization adopt it and use it effectively, right? And then it's not about the technology, it's a new way of thinking. And the machine learning algorithm is often the easy part. Implementing it on live systems with the required people and processes is the difficult part. Um, and then people, they don't care about if you're using the AI latest technology or whatever. I mean, they only care about improving their lives and then adding value to their company, to the top line, bottom line, saving time and convenience, right? And these are things that uh, technologists should think about, and then also executives should think about. So in dealing with AI tech, you need a systems thinking perspective. It's built on people and business processes, and then you have to have those right before you start kind of deploying and then building AI applications. So if you're a technologist and you have a technology background, I mean, what you can do is basically get familiar with the AI technology if you're not already, and then identify use cases where you can improve existing processes, and then start with a small sandbox experiment to test your capabilities. If you're a business guy in the business field, you get familiar with AI technology by attending one of these talks, just like this one. And then you basically do a mapping exercise to figure out, hey, can I develop some new product in my industry that will serve a specific niche of people that I know of, and then can benefit from this technology? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. No, you have to look at this from with an expert or with somebody very familiar with your field and with some of these technologies, right? Or maybe can I improve on an existing product that I have, right? And then the one last thing with in terms of implementing with businesses, it's super important to have a buy-in from top leadership. Many different projects get killed at the baby stage just by having without having proper leadership understanding of what this technology is about. So that is what I'm trying to do with the Rogue AI group here. Is basically connecting the gap between technologists and then businesses. So if you have a business problem, we can do some of these workshops around those business problems and try to develop plans to solve those business problem with these technologies. So with that in mind, I think I'll open the floor for discussions, and then we can go over anything that I mentioned before, even some of the applications that you would like to discuss, whether around the demos or around some of the categories here. So the floor is yours.
First of all, thank you. Thank you very much for the workshop. And I have a question. Okay. If I want to just build my knowledge in this, what would be your recommendation, what I should do? Is it possible also to get an access to the OpenAI AI, which you just showed us?
Yeah, OpenAI, like I was saying, there's a huge wait list. I'm working on an app myself for a personal project that I have, and then I applied to get through that wait list, and that was like back 5-6 months ago, and that's how I got in. So unfortunately, you can apply and then get on the wait list, so you can play with it. I think that'll be something interesting. Just get there. But in the meantime, yes, Anna, there's a lot of resources you can explore to know more about AI. And then I'm more than happy to email you a lot of different links, and then like a plan for you to get more familiar uh, in AI tech from a non-coding perspective, because that's what you're looking at. You're looking at the problem from society's perspective and then its impact on policies. And there's a lot of stuff that you can learn there. Even a couple of courses. I don't have them on top of my mind, but if you leave your email on my website thingy, I'll get back to you, and then I'll send you some material.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yeah, Ali, this is Deepak. Uh, I had a question. So, with regards to like security with AI, like how secure, like for example, if I take the Google Home, right? So, like whatever we speak right now is being recorded. So, I would just want to know, like, how, in terms of security, so how safe are we, or whether it is safe or whether it is not safe?
So let me frame this. I think from your point of view, where you're coming from, you're trying to build, let's say, an AI application in your organization, right? Is that the frame of reference that you're interested in?
Yeah.
Okay. So fortunately for you, there's a lot of different things that you can do. You don't have to rely on third-party um, providers like Google or Microsoft. You can, sure, if you're willing to be in their ballpark and then measure to their security standards. But if you have a more stringent security requirement and you want everything to be on your premises, on your servers, uh, and then you want to control everything, you can build your applications that way and then put them and deploy them on your server yourself.
Mhm.
So it depends. I guess my answer would be it depends on your requirements. You can make it super secure by having control of everything yourself. You can make it sec secure, but in the cloud with different partners and then trust their security measures. But I mean, in the end, if somebody wants to steal your data, they'll find a way to do that. There's nothing 100% secure um, on the internet, but it's as good as it can get with the standards of security in the industry. And then you have the option of not divulging any of your sensitive data to other parties if you use some of the packages and softwares um, appropriately.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
All right. Any more questions or interest in in some of the demos or applications?
Yeah, I would just discuss about like one application at least in the
Mm-hmm.
medical device.
Okay.
Uh, so it's about like remote operations. So where like uh, surgeons can remotely operate on patients, right? So I think that's a pretty good technology that a lot of hospitals and a lot of doctors are now implementing all over the world. So yeah, I think that is one application where I feel I think uh, it's the next big thing in the medical side and in the healthcare side. So yeah, it's just a small application that being in that field, I just wanted to share.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of promising things around that area, not just artificial intelligence, but also augmented reality. I'm aware of a startup called Proximy, and then what they do is they use augmented reality with a very high bandwidth um, connections to be able to have surgeon in, let's say, in Vegas operate on somebody in India, in Bombay, for example, and then do that by directing the surgeon in Bombay with live video feed and augmented reality of what is happening on the in the operation room. And this has helped save a lot of different lives, especially in areas with no in underserved areas in healthcare communities. So that's one application I'm aware of. In terms of robotic kind of surgery, also for operation rooms, there's a lot of advances there. Um, the main dilemma there, the main challenge there was the latency of connections, but that has been solved by increasing some of the bandwidth that you have in the connections. But yeah, exciting field.
Yeah. Ali, you just mentioned about augmented reality, right?
Hmm.
So what's the difference between AI and augmented reality?
So augmented reality, it's like when you put those goggles and then you
Yeah.
see. So there's two things. There's virtual reality and there's augmented reality. They're slightly different. I always mix them up, but one of them is you're seeing augmented is where you see things augmented on your own reality, projected by some light emitting device. And then, for example, you're cutting an artery and then you're seeing a trace of a laser where that artery should be, right? That's augmented
Mhm.
reality where you're seeing what should you do. And then it's just kind of a visual communication tool uh, and experience with AR and augmented reality. Now, AI is a set of algorithms and technologies to process data and then do some actions on that. It can be with visual tools, with text, with many different types of data. It doesn't limit itself to just pictures or video, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
All right. If there's no more question, I would love to thank you all for joining today. I'm very happy to have met you, even though briefly. And if you need any help in the future in anything related to technology and AI, you know where to find me on the meetup. Drop me a message, or also. So those of you who are connected to me on LinkedIn or also on my website on ali-taraf.com. So if you have not done so, please leave your email there on ali-taraf.com, and then I'll get back to you with some information about the slides here and then anything that we discussed that you would like to know more about. So thank you guys, and then have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ali.